Hi, I'm Maya. I haven't created a video in a long time. This channel is Vibration Translation, a name that came to me from an ayahuasca experience a few years ago. So, from my observations as a human and also a human working in the workforce in the United States of America, this is a talk about society and talk about the dysfunctions in society. A talk about authority, really the authority problem that has developed. That is no longer going to be working moving forwards from my observations. And I think this is a conversation that really needs more momentum. And so I'm making this video for that reason. I really believe this kind of conversation needs more momentum, more to be added to it. And so it's not just about my word, these are my observations. And something that I've always been passionate about is recognizing your own direct experience and recognizing how you too can contribute, how you too are no less than, no greater than anybody else, how you too are a part of this, greater dance of the world, how you too are an integral part of it, because literally because you are alive. And that gives you so much value just because you exist. And just because you are as you are uniquely created, nobody else being like you. I mean, there's just so much inherent value in that everybody has in their unique ways, and there's so much richness to be able to live in a world that is so much more collaboration focused, so much more truth and honesty and integrity and reflection and accountability and compassion focused. And there's so much more potential in a world like that for it to really be supportive of the cultivation of each person's light, of each person's thing they are here to bring forth into the world, and be, as the life force, as the life given being that they are. And our society, I am living in the United States of America. I will obviously miss some things that may be nuances for different cultures, etc. In general, our society is not built to support individual growth in a collaborative and compassionate sense. Our society, ever since being in school, you are to compete. You are to compete to be the best, to be better than your peers, to score better grades so that you could be better, so you could feel better about yourself. What we are really fed with from a young age is a certain life path that is considered the successful path. It's a certain plan of go to school, go to college, get further education, land a great job, and get married or whatever, have kids, live a successful life, and advance in your career, and keep advancing in your career till your deathbed. And that's the structure we have in play. And fight, with your brains, with your smarts to get into these schools and beat all these other people that are trying to apply. And if you do, then you can feel better about yourself and your ego can grow, and you're gonna be, not only does your ego grow, I mean, it's like your ego grows because all these people are praising you and applauding you for basically doing what the system always wanted you to do and wanted you to be, and you're being who you should be. Now, caveat, of course, for some people, obviously this system works and it works great. And there's nothing wrong with following that path. There's nothing wrong with, following the path that has been laid out for you in terms of what the idea of success is in society. Maybe that really is in alignment and living your truth. Absolutely. But a thing to watch out for if you are going down that path and you really feel like that is, your true path, is the ego expansion, the ego traps that occur with that. Because if everybody's celebrating you and telling you you're doing the best and you're achieving these big achievements, I mean, the ego's going to be a little bit interested, like, I am interested in thinking that it's better than other people and feeling that it's superior to other people. And that contributes to your own suffering and the suffering of those around you. Because when a person thinks better of themselves and of other people, I mean, that can be sensed out. If somebody feels like they're more deserving than you, especially if they're in a position of some kind of authority or leadership, yeah, that's going to be sensed out and that's not going to be creating a positive environment, just like stuff that is happening within workplaces. The smaller environments, the smaller ecosystems like of a workplace are reflections of this larger ecosystem that society is promoting. So oftentimes what you see, not all the time, of course, but oftentimes what you see is that many people that are in those positions of authority, of leadership or power, got into those positions first because they thought that that would satisfy their ego to be in a position like that. So now they get to feel superior and act superior to other people because they feel like, oh, this is something that is being praised. This is something I'm being celebrated for, and therefore I am better than other people. And therefore I am more deserving. And the system itself sets it up so that worth is based off of following what they told us that we should be, which is, to be basic, in America at least, the doctor, the lawyer, I don't know, the astronaut, you know? Like, and if you're that, it's like ooh, you're a dentist, you're an astronaut. Wow. And you get all this like ooh la la from people around you, you know? And we know this, we know from people like Jim Carrey, which I have no idea what happened to that man, but we're not getting into conspiracies here, okay? But people like Jim Carrey have in the past spoken up and said very directly, I got everything I wanted in my life. I got all the fame, I got all the money, all the women or whatever it is that you think you should get based on what society told you that you should be in order to be praised. And it was not at all what he thought it was going to be. And we get so many stories of people that are like at the top and are unhappy and are just not satisfied because they eternally want more. Or maybe people like Jim Carrey, at least in the past, I don't know what happened to him, but people like Jim Carrey that like realize like this is not what life is about. That's what we are literally born into, bred into, conditioned into, especially determined by the kind of parents you have and the environment you grew up in. Like, for example, if you have a parent that's, a very high achiever, especially in the societal sense, and really like plays into the ideal of society, then you might feel that pressure yourself to become, something extraordinary. Or if you're not extraordinary, then you're worthless. I mean, that's something I've lived with myself. Sorry, y'all, my left eyeball is doing some things and it's being sensitive to the light. Y'all, I'm drinking matcha and it's really, I really packed it. Let me just tell you, I packed this matcha. Something I'm seeing at my workplace of kind of like the ugly underneath that's coming more to the light is that when certain people are put in certain positions, again, certain people, not everybody is like this, but if certain people are put into some kind of positions of leaderships or power, then all of a sudden they may think that they're more deserving and that there can only be a limited amount of people that are at the top. Because if you have so many people at the top, then how are you going to be special, right? So people really take to heart certain roles and positions that they are given within their workplace. I mean, why not? Society has bred you to identify yourself with the roles it has given you. So why not take to heart that, oh, I'm this, leadership position, therefore I am better than you. Therefore, I just know better and know more and do more, and I don't need you to tell me at all or giving me any advice about what to do because I know the best. And this doesn't allow other people in the workplace to really shine their light and really be who they are and really contribute to the team, like from their own talents, like as much as they could, because the system does not allow for it. Because people's egos get hurt. Because if you question authority, some people's egos get really hurt. And to some people, it really gets into their heads. It's the idea that there are some winners and some losers in the world, and that's all that there is. And if you don't go towards being a winner, you're basically a loser. And we can look at you like that and we can feel superior above you. It's again this game of superiority, this game of authority. And in a system like this, people are really not encouraged to see themselves as being worthy as where they are, as being accepting of themselves and compassionate of selves to where they are. And in a system like this, how are we surprised that so many people are having this crazy anxiety about getting things wrong, about not being enough? About not being enough. Isn't that the most popular one? About not being enough. Because when from a young age you're told if you're not this, this, and that, then basically you're not enough. But if you're this, this, and this, then, oh, yes, you will be praised. But only a few of those people will get praised, not everybody. So ultimately, the question comes down to what do you want and what do you value? Because as we are running on all these subconscious programs that have literally built the world that we are living in right now, and as we are sensing the things that feel off and weird and out of integrity with of ourselves and what we actually want out of life and what the life inside of us is leading us towards, recognize like that is literally the guidance system itself towards where the world wants to move towards, where life wants to move towards through you, through me, through us. Because systems of this like competition, yeah, sure, they have created advancement in the world. And they have pushed people to be better and better and better and better. But, as we can see through mental health crises, etc., this is not something that's working. And it's collapsing. It's collapsing. I don't know what else to say except it's collapsing because more people are seeing through it. Seeing through the identification with the roles, with the societal reinforcement of praise, to training like a dog to be something that's not yourself. Because it may really feel like you're living in a maze of just trying to prove yourself and fit into the standards of the people around you that are equally as conditioned as you are. Or as you are, because so am I, because we grew up like this. We're not, and also not to fall into the trap of, oh, I have recognized the conditioning, therefore I'm better than all of you because I recognize the conditioning. Yeah, so that one's another good one. Especially if you're like on the spiritual path or however you want to call that. That can be a big thing of like when especially if you first get into the spirituality or maybe you're deep in it, of just noticing the times that the ego wants to be like, oh, but I see it and they don't see it, therefore I'm better than them, because the ego's gonna, just keep trying to assert itself into some kind of placement of comparison, placement from the comparison between other people. But the things that come from your heart that feel in line and in truth with your whole being, those things are not your ego. Those things are, from how I describe it, the life that is moving through you, the flow, the current of life that is wanting to really move through you. And what I've come to know for myself, what makes sense, is that this light, this life that is moving through you, is moving in the direction of increasing, the compassion within the world and of helping you, of guiding you towards contributing to that towards being of service to that, in a way that only you can do uniquely. And I think it's important to know that nobody outside of you can tell you about yourself and about where that inkling, that life, that whisper is trying to take you. And that's why sitting in stillness and meditation and taking time out from the continuous dialogue and, interaction with culture and interaction with all this, just taking just stillness and turning off these phones, these computers, just turn it off, and stay with yourself. Because really, like, if we don't do that, we're gonna be at risk of just getting swept up in what everybody else is doing, what everybody else is thinking, and adopting that into how we live our lives rather than really listening to the silence, to nature, to life. There's no use of trying to prove yourself to any kind of authority in your life. And somewhere here is where freedom lies. Somewhere here that's not in the identification of the roles of our culture as something that, as a role, as a workplace, as a, thing we do in life, as not taking that as something that defines us and who we are. Somewhere really in the being of yourself is where freedom lies. It's the return to self, the big S self. Is the return to that for the more people that do that. It doesn't make you special to do that. Because really, from what I'm experiencing, the more you really tune into, like, your center and the big S self and nature, the more you feel the connection between everything. The more the separation, the egoic strive to be better than, you're making people less than so you can be greater than, or whatever your ego does, the more that just begins to go away, and it becomes about honesty. It becomes about telling the truth. It becomes about, honesty, integrity, compassion, openness, strength within your center. It becomes about being who you are, not who you're quote unquote supposed to be. Not what your parents, not what your teachers, not what your friends, not what your culture, not what anything tells you to be. It just becomes about being who you are. And we don't get to who we are through. And these may be, of course, a part of the journey for learning and expanding and all that, but we don't nurture who we are through anxiety and self-doubt, self-hate, especially not catering to other people, especially not being filled with the thoughts of other people. We nurture who we are by listening to ourselves, our whole selves, all the parts of ourselves, by bringing them to ourselves and bringing compassion for them, all of them, all of them, all of them. And, as I see the world right now, we're in this giant, learning process. of how to do that. And, if you get triggered along the way, if you have a reaction along the way, honestly, I see that as part of the process. Not saying that you should go out and find ways to have a reaction, but it's just part of the process of cleansing, of washing ourselves. And, seeing the parts of ourselves that do get triggered and react, and like seeing like hey, what is this really about? Hey, what do you actually need? And being open to the impact we also have on other people. I think that's really important as well. Being open to the impact we have on other people. Because I think ultimately we come to know if the way we acted or spoken was in our integrity or not. Okay. Yes, that's what I wanted to say today. Hopefully I get this video out. There's a part of me that definitely wants to revise it and make it more like a ding, 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 ding. But I think it was a nice flow, and yeah. See you next time then. Bye.